and welcome to like a little spin-off video. I'm Caitlyn from Sheepless.
Hayley from Hayley's Horror Reviews.
We realised tonight that we haven't really spoken a great deal about our favourites. Like, we've only spoken about things we've just seen.
Yeah.
So, you know, to have you think, oh, would I like what they like? We've tried to narrow down our top 5 films.
Yeah.
Which is full of pressure.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because there's so many films we've seen like over the years that really like influenced us in many ways, and it's tough when you've got certain ones that really just like get you.
Yeah, and pull you in, and it all goes back to like when you first saw that film and things like that. So yeah, do you want to hit your number 5?
My number 5 film is Final Destination. Now, I know since it came out in 2000 there's been endless sequels, but the original was good because it took the teen slasher concept. It did something a little bit different. It didn't have a hooded killer. The killer was death, just death. You didn't even see it. And it had a lot of creative kills in it, but it also had a lot of good characterisation in it, and you really felt for the lead characters. There was Alex and Claire, they were like a really good horror romance as well.
They weren't afraid to kill anyone, in any way.
Yeah.
Either were they. That was a kind of cool thing with them. So yeah, that's a good choice.
I mean, it's been overdone since, but the original, that one, I'll never get tired of.
My number 5 is only slightly more recent, by about 10 years maybe, and mine's Kill List. I've been obsessed with it since I first saw it. It's an incredible film. I'll never forget the way I felt in the cinema watching that, and the reaction of some bloke down the front row who just yelled once it was over. And I remember walking back from it to go to the car afterwards, and it being broad daylight and me still being really, really shaken. So I can't say any more than that for a film.
It's excellent because it's genre bending.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah.
Taken to a whole another level.
Your number 4.
Yes. My number 4 film is John Carpenter's classic Halloween. It basically sparked off the second generation of slasher films. It's influenced so much, and it was just a very intelligent way of making a slasher film without being too gratuitous. And I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is a horror icon. She's fantastic watching that movie.
Yeah.
And the music. I cannot forget the score of Halloween. It's one of those that'll be like built into your brain for all time. It's fantastic, and yeah, it's one of those that if you want to start getting into horror films, that's the one I would actually say watch that first before anything else.
Yeah.
Because it won't like disgust you or it will scare you.
Yeah,
it's the way it's
yeah.
just that atmospheric, but it's one that I think a lot of people can appreciate that perhaps aren't genre fans.
Yes, I think it's a good starting point because you don't have the levels of gore that you do in other slashers, but you've still got that essential little idea of, you know, a killer won't stop coming after you. So that's really cool. My number 4 is The Vault of Horror, which is an Amicus-produced anthology film, and it's really, really great. You've got a good few names, but mostly I love that first story within it. It's great. I like the wraparound story as well that finishes it all off. It's really, really great. I only saw it fairly recently, and it was just one of those ones that hit me, even though it wasn't new or it wasn't like obviously it had started a few things. There's a great story in it as well about the Indian rope trick, which is just anything that combines magic. I'm down with. So I'm going to throw it over to you for your number 3.
My number 3 is the 1996 Wes Craven film Scream. It was the film that actually got me into the genre in the first place. It was on late at night, I was a kid, I just thought I'd scare myself, but I just couldn't believe how into it I got, how fascinated I was by the genre. And it was the first film that, well, maybe not the first, but it was very, very postmodern, very sort of ahead of its time, and it just challenged all the expected codes and conventions in a very, very intelligent and funny way. And it's one that even the sequels are actually pretty good. It's carried on, and so yeah, Scream will be definitely for it, and the opening sequence. That was one of the most memorable in horror history.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's one of my honourable mentions. I love how you can watch it as a straightforward slasher, and then if you know your stuff and you go back through it and you've got all these little references, it adds an extra layer. It's great. My number 3 is The Exorcist, which I saw far too young when I had a babysitter, and I didn't have any context. I walked into the room and boom, Demon Linda Blair. I didn't sleep for weeks, but then when I was 13, it had been re-released, and it was, so it was like you finally had it on a videotape. So you could watch it again, and it helped because I was still terrified by it, but I had that bit more context.
Yeah.
So it was maybe a bit less scary.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him 2 lips like roses and clover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are